The Speaker of the House battle continues. I'm Kristi Leigh, and here's today's Daily Brief. I'll have how the revolt against Speaker hopeful Kevin McCarthy seems to be gaining steam. More Twitter files reveal the cozy relationship with three-letter agencies. Zuckbucks are still attempting to influence elections, and another attorney general is pushing back against big banks boycotting fossil fuels. After Kevin McCarthy failed to secure the Speaker of the House position Tuesday, the rebellion seems to be spreading. Some of the 20 House members who helped deprive McCarthy of the Speaker's gavel say the votes should serve as a wake-up call to GOP leaders everywhere that the party needs to return to its roots of fiscal conservatism after 2 decades of reckless spending in Washington, according to Just the News. RNC chairwoman Ronna McDaniel is fighting to keep her leadership position. A Rasmussen report poll released this week found 3/4 of Republicans want McDaniel replaced and new leadership to steer the party in a different direction. Here's what McDaniel had to say on Fox News.
So if we're so hateful towards each other that other Republicans won't vote for us, then we're doing exactly what the Democrats want, right? And so this scorched earth, I'm going to take on every other Republican instead of focusing on who voters want us to focus on, which is the Democrats. Remember, the Democrats who are leaving our border open. They're the ones who kept our kids out of school. They're the ones who have allowed crime to run rampant in our streets. That is the Democrat Party.
Among those opposing what they call establishment Republicans are freshmen. Anna Paulina Luna of Florida, who voted against McCarthy, had previously stated that he threatened her if she dared to cross him in his bid for Speaker, according to National File. Dissenters are only getting emboldened. Red State Report's Rep. Matt Gaetz wrote to the architect of the Capitol that Kevin McCarthy should not be allowed to occupy the physical office of the Speaker of the House, considering that he just lost 3 consecutive votes for the position.
If you want to drain the swamp, you cannot put the biggest alligator in charge of the exercise.
Gaetz chatting it up with AOC in the back of the chamber drew attention. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said Matt Gaetz wanted to know if Democrats would bail out McCarthy. Not a chance, she told him, according to The Intercept. Even President Trump seems to be flipping on McCarthy. He previously endorsed him, but that support seems to be wavering. An NBC News correspondent says that when he asked Trump if he was sticking by McCarthy, Trump told him, "We'll see what happens," and ended the conversation. Speaking of new leadership participants, a new Democrat representative ditches the Bible to be sworn in on a copy of a Superman comic book instead, according to Not the Bee. California Democrat Robert Garcia says he wants to be sworn in over the Constitution, a picture of his parents, his citizenship certificate, and an original copy of Superman #1, which he checked out of the Library of Congress. Another batch of Twitter files has been released, and this time it has more details on the COVID cover-up, according to Town Hall. Matt Taibbi titled the Twitter thread "Twitter and the FBI belly button." Taibbi's thread provides evidence, including screenshots of how the Global Engagement Center, GEC, which he describes as a fledgling analytical intelligence arms of the State Department, claimed to the media in February of 2020 that COVID origin theories were just another Russian disinformation campaign. Twitter accounts were flagged as Russian personals and proxies, even if they made claims which still can't be disproven, such as describing the coronavirus as an engineered bioweapon and blaming research conducted at the Wuhan Institute. Several tweets reveal the back and forth about whether the GEC would involve other agencies, such as the FBI and CIA, and whether the agency could rely on the FBI to be the belly button of the USG. This Twitter Files installment even reveals that not only the GEC made requests for certain users to be banned, but a politician, Rep. Adam Schiff, asked for a New York Post reporter to be banned, a request eventually granted. Twitter received so many censorship requests it could barely keep up. Taibbi reminds readers Twitter was paid more than $3 million for essentially being an overwhelmed subcontractor. About half the states banned private dollars from funding local governing of elections as a response to Mark Zuckerberg's controversial grants in 2020. But according to Daily Signal, a left-wing tech group called the Alliance for Election Excellence will dole out individual $500,000 grants to jurisdictions for future elections. Money is earmarked for jurisdictions in Connecticut and Illinois, but also headed to jurisdictions in battleground states like Wisconsin, North Carolina, California, Nevada, and Michigan. The Public Interest Legal Foundation says the Zuckerberg grants in 2020 were used by Republican-leaning counties for activities such as buying printers, while officials in Democrat-leaning counties used the money for activities such as collecting ballots. A Kentucky GOP treasurer threatens 11 banks with divestment for boycotting fossil fuels, according to the Federalist. Treasurer Allison Ball says the institutions will have to choose between managing taxpayer assets well or their continued animosity toward American energy. According to the treasurer's office, the energy sector is responsible for nearly 8% of state employment, and 70% of the state's electricity came from coal in 2021, keeping costs down for Kentucky residents. Ball gave state agencies 30 days to report any direct or indirect holdings in firms identified as refusing investment in fossil fuels. Firms listed include Citigroup, JPMorgan Chase, and BlackRock, among others. So here's today's takeaways. It's a Republican rebellion. America First GOP members are demanding more aggressive action, less spending, and new leadership. Twitter files continue to expose government agencies and politicians stifling free speech. Left-wing groups are still trying to influence elections with private funding, and big banks are being held accountable for putting politics over profits. To learn more, be sure to go to AmericanFaith.com and subscribe to our daily newsletter. For American Faith, I'm Kristi Leigh.